It's really hot, it doesn't have a top, and it gets quite wet. Now, no, we're not talking about your mom, we're talking about my Revuelto and how it's been owning a car like this for now almost a year. You see, I took delivery of my Revuelto back at the end of 2024, and it was one of the first ad personam cars to come out that didn't have all the issues. We call these the post 1500 VIN cars. And in this case, I have now lived with it with quite a bit of miles, actually. I've added 2,000 miles, which is, I would say, a lot of miles considering how many cars I have, which means that it's actually been driven quite a lot because I leave it at the house and I tend to use it often. And so today we're going to talk at Exotic Car Hacks about what it's like to actually own a Revuelto, the good, the bad, what I love about it, what I absolutely hate, and if you should actually buy one, or is it not worth the now $100K more because of the tariff price tag, priced at over $800,000 for a 2025 Revuelto. When you think about the Revuelto, you typically immediately, mind-wise, go to the SVJ. The first thing that always happens to any single person that sees this car, they have the need to tell me that they prefer the SVJ. They go, well, that's a nice car, but I would have bought an SVJ for that money. Well, the problem with that statement is that this isn't an SVJ. And the reason it gets confused with the predecessor to the SVJ is because its price point is more expensive than an SVJ. But it really isn't and isn't supposed to be. As a matter of fact, if you're going to compare this car to is it that much better of a car, you should compare it to a 2012 Aventador. Not the latest race variation of the Aventador, of the, I should say, the Murcielago LP, 670 or whatever. Like that car back then, you can't compare first generation Aventador to a last model race Murcielago the same way that you can't actually really say, is this a better car? It's a different car, and it does things very, very differently. Now, I'm a big anti-EV guy, and this isn't an EV. It has a hybrid component, but Ferrari did this with the SF90, and I thought the SF90 was one of the most beautiful cars Ferrari had ever created, and yet it drove like complete shit. And the problem with driving like shit wasn't actually that the car itself drove badly or wasn't fast enough, because it was boggling fast. The problem was it rattled, the steering buttons didn't work, and a lot of the technical aspects of a tech-heavy car just weren't helping the driving experience. And then they introduced this thing almost 3 years later, which was like, hey, we're coming for you, Ferrari, and we made our very own Revuelto. And from what I heard, it's actually possible that this ends up with the same fate as the SF90, which came out in a coupe, a Spider, and then an XX model. And it's very likely that Lamborghini is not going to make a Spider out of this, or I should say a Roadster, and instead is going to go straight to some kind of specialty race model and then end the Revuelto before going to another model. These are some of the rumors that are floating around. But yet I think it's really, really good. Like, really good. And there's a lot of things that are good about it, and there's some things that are total shit about it. So I want to talk about some of these things today. So I've been a we've done a full review of this when I first got the car and drove around with it. But now that I've lived with it for a little bit, I do notice certain things that work, certain things that don't. So it's been in the shop one time. It has not had any issue. It had a service that had a ton of updates to the computers. And then since then, those minor computer updates took almost like 3.5 weeks to do, but the car is now back, and it has been pretty problem-free. So I'm pretty happy to state that a lot of people that are having issues with their Revuelto, if you listen to me in my Exotic Car Hacks course, and if you don't know what that is, click the link in the description, I talk about buying the right cars and certainly knowing the different VINs, etc. with these so that you don't get stuck with an early model car that was plagued with issues. So this was not one of those, and it has been pretty issue-free. Knock on whatever the fuck is around. We'll just say carbon for today. But the main thing here with this car is that it has been a pretty reliable car, and I've driven it quite a bit. Now, from a design standpoint, the Revuelto is unbelievable, but it does things very, very differently than the SVJ, very, very differently, and very differently than the Aventador. For one thing, the seating position inside and the actual cockpit is not only roomy, unlike an Aventador, but it's incredibly useful, meaning it's incredibly easy to sit in, your back doesn't hurt after 40 minutes, and it's incredibly well put together. The cup holders work, and you don't have to go behind you to get to it. You don't have to go all the way to the passenger seat. Everything about it just makes sense, and I see a lot of the Porsche influence into the car in terms of the ideology behind like how a driver or passenger should feel. Now, they have the second zone LED display, which has all this very cool gadgety feel to it and is absolute dog shit and worthless and does nothing whatsoever. So it's completely useless. You know, when I was new to exotic cars, I used to say, well, you need that option. There's a little screen over there and it's going to tell your passenger what they need to know about the speed you're taking. The only thing the passenger in this car needs to do is either blow you or sit on your lap while you're driving. There's no other purpose unless it's your good friend, which should be driving the car behind you, because then you can pick up a whore to put her there. There's no other reason why you would actually take this car out with a guy. I'm just letting you know that doesn't work. So let's talk about we'll start at the design function and then go out. The longer I look at it, the more I love the back and the side profile of this car. And you guys have seen me previously talk about how I outfitted it with wheels. Factory suspension comes down on coils. This car has every carbon option. At the time this was purchased, the carbon roof and the carbon center here were not available. So this was early enough where Ad Personam did not have these features. Now this whole top and wing can also be carbon. I don't know that I would have done that with this color spec, but certainly if I was going to order a race model, something more wow, I would absolutely do that. In this case, I bought all the other carbon options, exterior, interior, and a full Ad Personam interior. But let's look at design for a second. The more I look at the side, the more I look at the rear, the better this gets over time. But the front, the longer I look at it, the more I think it's really, really ugly. I mean, just look at it. Like, it's very, very ugly. Look, come over here. I want you to see this. You get these lights right here, which really make the fucking car. The headlights are absolutely unbelievable. But then you get this gigantic fucking average looking hood, which there's so much opportunity here for stuff. And I prove this because the Duke Dynamics hood, which they make a body kit for this car, but just the hood alone would make this car look 500 times better with just a very small tweak, which is just a $10,000 problem. So it's not even 10 grand, but I'm saying the point is that it's just what that would be. So it's an easy fix, but for the sake of discussing the car as it comes from the factory, it's not that good. Because even though I've done aftermarket wheels here, I want to just note that the factory nice 22-inch wheels are beautiful and do not need to be replaced. If genuinely you like your car stock, this can work very, very well. So the front, the longer I look at it, is uglier. The rest of the car, the longer I look at it, gets prettier. So let's talk a little bit about the rest of the living with this car. Some of the things that occur with this car is, yes, it has a hybrid drive, so you actually get to turn on the car and you can get out of your house very quietly. So if you have a really very exciting life, and having a car like this typically you do, you need to escape out of your garage between 11 and 12:30 every night. And if you do that, you don't wake up the kids, it starts in hybrid, you can literally get out, and it's even less noisy than a vacuum cleaner leaving. So fantastic, really, really good thing. It's not a hybrid because the battery barely holds any charge. At most, you can probably drive like 20 miles or so before needing a charge. So it's not really an electric car per se. It's more so that the electric is used to support the power in the car, and obviously helps emissions. There are major faults here in terms of the digital aspects and display. So the first fault that I think is huge is where buttons are. So I don't know why manufacturers do this shit. They put everything on the steering wheel for no reason. This was one of my biggest arguments, and the longer you own this, the more annoying it fucking gets. So if you actually look at the Countach, which has 0 buttons on the steering wheel, 0 buttons, the driving experience becomes hyper-focused on the driving. And the other thing I would want to note is while it has nothing here, and this one has everything here, it doesn't need half of this shit. Like, I just want to be clear. We don't need, well, you kind of need the voice to audio, and I'm going to tell you why, but you shouldn't have to. But so it has that button, that's useless. The other thing, it has this button to make the wing come up and down. Sure, I don't really give a shit. It has the up and down lift button. That button shouldn't be here. My opinion should be right here. The gas button is here as a major button. That I don't understand. That should be on the door somewhere. I don't know why in this core area here, we have this Huracan thing they never updated since like 2015. Why is this the reverse from the Huracan? Makes no sense. And then why do you have a core button here, which is literally the gas cap here? So like that doesn't make sense. The lift should be here. It would be so much more useful. And then here's the other thing. You have all these modes here. You have 3 EV modes and you have 3 race modes. That's cool. But you don't have a button to instantly, like you don't have a button to go back every time. So here's the problem. Every time I want to go driving, and I drive this often, so I like to drive it in sports mode, hybrid, and I like to also drive it in manual. I want my paddles, I want my sport mode, and I leave the hybrid so I'm not in full performance mode when I'm driving the city. The problem is, every single time I get in the car, the E mode is basically like warming up the car. Then the speed limiter is preventing the car to go past a certain thing, so you can't really go manual. And then within 5 minutes, then you can go into your settings and change everything. You have to do this every single time you get in the car. The car doesn't pre-save any settings. So if I park this car, go get ice cream or jerk off, I have to come back and deal with these 19 button configurations for no fucking reason. And it's really fucking annoying. It's really, really annoying. And I don't like it at all. And the reason why I said the lift shouldn't be here, or that it kind of sucks and I don't know why it's here, because you have the suspension button here and the lift. But you really have to press the lift button hard for it to really like trigger the car. So this is minor. I get it. Trust me. Like, this is not a Persian guy that's like so fucking rich that he's like talking about. Yeah, you see, even my video guys make fun of me. The thing is, it's not about the button strength or anything. It's that when you're driving, every one of these imperfections takes away from the driving dynamic of the car. And I'm going to give you another example. For years, I have yelled at Lamborghini for why doesn't this fucking infotainment have an on and off switch? Now, they somehow said, PJ, we heard you. We put buttons behind the steering wheel here to make the audio go up, or mute, or go down, or go. This type of stupid shit is so impossible to reach to know what you're doing when you're driving and you're like flustered and you need to press something. And it takes so long to move the volume up and down. A fucking switch, like a little knob here, like a manual knob for 12 cents, would have completely changed the dynamic of this experience. Because, take a look at this, which is terrible. I want you to take a look at this very simple thing. We're going to turn the car on, and I want you to see why this is very, very annoying. And I don't like it, you know? So right now, the car's actually on. That's right. It's on. Like, you don't hear it. It physically functions. It would move forward, backwards, whatever. You see, this is still loading. So look at how slow this is. That's problem one. This infotainment is awful, and I'm going to tell you why. So if we press it. It barely has any options here. The Android Auto doesn't, and yes, I'm an Android guy. I know there's an iPhone guy out there, or there's many iPhone guys out there. And you guys are the innovators, the thinkers, yet you're buying the shit they sell you every single fucking 3 weeks for like $2,000 more. And it has the same shit Samsung did 10 years ago. It just makes it more stupid proof, so you don't have to figure out how to do it. So you look like better photographers with less, yeah, we're just gonna drop that comment. Anyways, so even though I have an Android Auto on, I have to go here and hit connect and connect it so Android Auto starts. So it doesn't automatically start, which is the first problem. The second, which is annoying every time, the second problem is this isn't that fucking responsive. And when I go to climate, I have to click climate and I have to wait. And then I have to click this to now lower the climate to 0 if I don't like it, or make it higher. I can adjust stuff. Now, if I want to go to seat heat, I have to then turn over and go to the next one. It's kind of this never-ending, like one thing after another, and it's just not fast. So when you're pressing stuff and you're driving, it's really fucking annoying, like in every way possible, like beyond anything you can expect. And then for settings, you don't really have that many things. You have a trunk opener, dynamics, and top view, and that's it. And that's basically it, and there's nothing else to it. But let me tell you this. This is basically the cup holders straight out of a Porsche 911, which is great. The biggest issue I have with this car, after having owned it so long, is absolutely how fucking terrible the sound system in this thing is. Once you're in sports mode, you can't hear shit. And when I say nothing, I mean, this is such a bad fucking stereo system that sometimes I have to look at either my phone or this fucking screen on Android Auto to know what song's playing, because I kind of can tell from the melody, but I can't hear the fucking songs. Now, part of this is because I'm fucking in my 40s and I'm getting old as shit, but part of it is because the fucking stereo just sucks. I mean, like, you might as well not play music. Like, it's fucking really terrible. But yet this car should play music. So once the engine's on, because it's completely open out there, you don't hear shit anymore. So it should have had a much better stereo option, regardless of which stereo option you pick. It should have had better stereo, because it's just fucking terrible. Like, I mean, absolutely dog shit terrible. So outside of the infotainment and obviously the terrible sound system, everything else in the car actually is amazing compared to the Aventador. The seats don't hurt, the room, plenty of blowjob opportunities, very rare in the Aventador, and while the front is huge, it's incredibly responsive. It drives like an SVJ. It's like very glued to the ground, and it's just agile despite being really large. It's beautiful on the outside and the inside if you pick the right color and weren't colorblind when you bought your car. And everything, while some of it is starting to look more systematically futuristic Lamborghini, it works really, really well. And the quality is much higher than it's ever been. And I think it shows you that Lamborghini did a really good job on this car understanding its buyers. Minus the stereo and this fucking screen. And I want to make a point, because I think there's a disconnect here about the screen. People will say, well, PJ doesn't like screens, etc. This fucking thing has a screen in it. This fucking thing came out 3 years before this fucking thing. And this fucking screen works 10 times better than this fucking screen. This interface works better than this interface. This fucking interface works better than the STO and the Revuelto and even their new fucking Tamario, whatever the fuck you call it, that actually has the same fucking screen as this. So the point is, if they could do it for this shit, why didn't you just put this software in this fucking car and make it fucking work? It makes sense in this one. So if they added a knob to the screen, it would work. But the main thing about both of these softwares, this one is fast. When you click the buttons on the fucking screen, it moves bang, 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 bang really fast. This one, really fucking slow. So annoying, yes. Should you expect it? Oh, PJ, this is a $2 million car. It's the same fucking screen. It's the fucking software. It's not like someone invented a better fucking operating system. It's the same fucking thing. It's like saying that you're saying that the Windows from fucking like 2020 works better. Do they even have Windows now? Is this something, I think? I don't, okay, all right. Anyway, so if Windows was a thing from 2020, I don't know if Bill Gates is doing that or doing other shit in the world, but 2020 or 2022, you would expect 2022 to be a much better system, but it isn't. So those are my cues with this car, or should I say my quarrel with this car. Everything else about this car is beautiful, and I think that everything else about this car has so much opportunity. Once the actual SVJ model, the race variant, comes out, it's going to be a very interesting car, and I'm very excited to be ordering that. For now, this is my Revuelto. I still intend to keep it. I have my special client, one of 63 matching Ducati motorcycles coming to this. So we've done very, very cool similar pattern here with the colors and everything. So I'll be introducing that on the channel. Of course, I don't ride bikes anymore since I was like 19 years old. I have a brain now. And so those actual, that motorcycle will stay as more of a decoration piece in the office next to where this car gets retired once obviously the new race model shows up. So huge fan of the Revuelto. I would highly recommend it. Do I think it's great value at $800K? Honestly, if you told me I need a car to drive, not a car to just drive on the weekends, I would tell you I'd pick this every day of the week over an SVJ. An SVJ is incredibly inconvenient to drive every day, but this is a better car, but the SVJ is definitely a better driving experience. And so the question comes, why don't I have an SVJ? Well, because I have this. And this is the best thing that Lamborghini ever built that embodies everything Lamborghini ever was. And what people don't understand about this car is that this is the end of Lamborghini's best generation that got it to where it is today. And this is the beginning of what their future holds. And there's a lot that can be built off of this that's incredible. And there was a lot that was absolutely mental and insane that we all grew up with that's embodied in this car. And it's that fucking good. So there you have it. That's my review of the Revuelto after almost 1 year of ownership. I'll be keeping it for now. Absolutely adore this car as much as I adore my Countach. So both cars are actually here to stay for now. And otherwise, let me know what you think. Countach or Revuelto? Love to hear your thoughts. And make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. And I'll catch you next time.